Good morning, students. So today I am going to tell you more about the features that are required for cloning into a vector. So here I am going to tell you that what features should be there in the vector in which you are going to insert your alien piece of DNA to form the recombinant DNA. So what kind of vector should be selected by you for this purpose of making a recombinant DNA? So this vector should have the following type of features. The student first point is origin of a replication. So whenever you are going to select a vector for the transfer of your gene of interest or your DNA of interest, then you always select that vector whose origin of replication it supports many copy numbers. Then now the question is, what is origin of replication or ORI? So this is the sequence from where the replication starts. So if we incorporate or we link any piece of our DNA of interest to this sequence, then it can be made to replicate within the host cell. So this sequence, it is responsible for controlling the copy number of that linked DNA. So we should always take care that we have to select such a vector whose origin of replication it support many copy numbers. The student here I want to tell you that these plasmids which we generally used as vectors for recombinant DNA technology. These are the extra chromosomal DNA that are found in the cytoplasm of the prokaryotic cell. So there are some plasmids which supports only 1 or 2 copy numbers. But there are some plasmids which can give you 15 to 25 copies. So in that case, we have to select that plasmid or that bacteriophage which gives us more and more copies. So we should take care of the origin of replication, that we should select such a vector whose origin of replication supports many copy numbers. Yes, students, second one is the selectable marker. So what is this selectable marker? You know very well when we insert our alien piece of DNA or DNA of interest into the plasmid, which here act as a vector, then what happened? By the application of sticky ends and DNA ligase enzyme, this alien piece of DNA, it gets attached with the plasmid DNA and form the recombinant DNA. Now by the process of transformation, we insert our recombinant DNA into the host organism. Now when this DNA, it enters into the host organism, it uses the DNA polymerase enzyme of the host machinery to generate their own replicas. Now whether the progeny cell of the host organism, they become the transformants or not, whether our gene of interest, they get expressed in the daughter cells or progeny cells, and how many daughter cells they become the transformants. In order to know this, we use the selectable marker. So here what we do, suppose we have insert some antibiotic resistant gene. So in order to check whether our antibiotic resistant gene or insert, it enters into the progeny cell, that means the progeny cell becomes a transformants. We arrange so many Petri plates, 3 to 4 Petri plates we have arranged, and we put the antibiotics, different type of antibiotics over it. Then we allow the transformant cells as well as the non-transformant cells to grow over these cultured Petri plates where we put the antibiotics. So if we have insert the tetracycline resistant gene, then what happens? Since the tetracyclic resistant gene is present here as an insert in the progeny cells, then this means the tetracycline antibiotic, it cannot show any effect over the progeny cells. So if we have arranged 3 plates, one containing amphicycline, one containing tetracycline, and the third containing streptomycin. And when we observe the growth of transformants over it, then what we see, these transformants, they can easily grow over the tetracycline, because here they have the tetracycline resistant gene. This means the tetracycline antibiotic do not show any effect over them. So there is a smooth growth of the transformants that are seen over the tetracycline plate. So in this way, you are able to find out the transformants from the non-transformants. But this method is a cumbersome method. It is a lengthy process. So later this method, it is replaced by an alternative method in which we used a chromogenic substance. What we do in this method, that we will discuss later. Yes, student, here I have shown you the selectable marker. So selectable marker is required for maintenance of plasmid in the cell. It is a genes that confer resistance to particular antibiotics. That means the genes that make cell resistance to ampicillin, neomycin, or chloramphenicol. Yes, student, the next topic here is cloning sites. What I want to tell you in these cloning sites, that whenever we select a vector, we must take care that that vector contains very few single recognition sequences that are generally used by the restriction endonuclease. If so many recognition sequences are present on that vector, then the restriction endonucleases, they produced several segments and they complicate the process of a gene cloning. So here, what you have to do, you have to ligate your alien DNA, do the restriction site, and later on, the binding of this alien DNA with the that particular site takes place by sticky ends and DNA ligase, you know very well. So here the thing is that you have to select the vector which has few recognition sites, because it is quite comfortable for the restriction endonuclease to work. If more than one recognition sites are present over that vector, then this complicates the gene cloning process. So here student, I want to give you one example. See the diagram here. So here we have one vector, that is PVR 322, and so many sites are present over this vector. So here I am only talking about this BAM H1 site. So this BAM H1 site is that site where a tetracycline resistant gene is present. So what happened? This tetracycline resistant gene is earlier present in this vector PVR322. Now, if we add some insert in this plasmid vector, and we supposed to put it over this BAM H1 site, then it nullified the activities that is shown by the tetracycline resistant gene, a tetracycline antibiotic resistant gene. So earlier what these cells show, whenever they are supposed to grow over the tetracycline Petri plate. So because they have tetracycline resistant gene, then they are able to show a smooth growth over that plate, and the tetracycline antibiotic have no effect over them. But now when we put an insert over it, so that insert is related to some other antibiotic resistant gene. This means the earlier property of tetracycline resistant gene is now end. And when we allow to grow these transformants over the tetracycline, now these transformants, because they do not have tetracycline resistant gene, so earlier they have tetracycline resistant gene, so they can easily grow over the Petri plate. But now this tetracycline resistant gene, it is later nullified by the insert that is put over this BAM H1 site. So here a different effect is seen by these. So we can easily identify the transformants and the non-transformants because a tetracycline resistant gene is now absent. So earlier they can easily grow over the plate. Now they cannot show this kind of property. Okay, student, this method is used for the identification of transformants from the non-transformants. So I have written the whole account here. You can go through this. I need not to read it again. And one is the insertional inactivation. What is insertional inactivation? As I have told you earlier, that the plating of antibiotics is a quite cumbersome method. It is a lengthy procedure. So in order to avoid that, to check the transformants and the non-transformants, here we use the application of a chromogenic substance. So what is the thing here? That if we have insert some new gene in some vector, and whether it enters into the progeny cell or not, or the progeny cell it becomes the transformant or not, that we can easily find out with the help of a chromogenic substance. If the cells they become the transformants, then they do not produce blue color. And if the particular cells they are the non-transformants, then they give the blue color. So in this way we can identify that if blue color develops, this means the progeny cells are the non-transformants, and if the blue color do not develop, then this means the progeny cells they are the transformants. So that's all in today's lecture, students. So today we have studied about the features of the cloning vector, those features that must be present in the cloning vector for successful functioning of the vector. That's all in today's lecture. Have a nice day.